But I just feel that you're my neighbors and I can talk to you. So I'll put the speech underneath the book here and just talk to you. Traditionally, I get involved with military and I get involved with veterans type festivities. But as the last few years have evolved, when Pete had asked me from the Veterans Advisory Board, Pete Palestina, I always butcher his name, but when Pete had asked me to speak here, I was going out, the unit director of the Army Rangers for the United States, and I was going out to Missouri. And I thought, yes, I will come and I'll speak in Northampton. I don't care if there's one child here or two children. I don't care if it's just beginning. It's necessary to start planting the seed of America's flag. And what I mean by that, the flag throughout the years has been used for protest. It's been used by artists. It's been used for many different things. And when the flag was developed over 200 some years ago, and it was adopted by their Continental Congress, I don't think we thought in our hearts and minds that that was going to be the meaning of the flag, a symbol of protest. And what I mean by that also is I'll share with you some personal experiences. I know Tim glanced on some things there, but I can tell you almost 2 months after the flag was adopted by the Continental Congress, it was a symbol that was in battle. And some of the first medals of honor, our nation's highest award, was given out to people when a young man was killed on the battlefield carrying the flag would fall. And that was such a mortal disgrace in battle. And a new man would pick that flag up. You could be 15 years old, you could be 17 years old, but you had to carry that flag bearer. And you received the first medals of honor. It was a great, great symbol. As I travel around the world, and I've traveled in many, many countries, I can tell you that showing up with a little American flag on your lapel, people looked at it with pride and respect. And yes, I've been to Vietnam, and I've had dinner with the president of Singapore, and I've been in Chechnya. I was the ambassador for economic and humanitarian aid there. I had to walk a fine line between the Russians and the Chechens. Everywhere I went, the American flag meant something to people. It used to be called the Stars and Bars at one time, as a chaplain was indicating how many stars or how many bars are in the flag, and it's 13. And originally it was 13 colonies. And that's what I used to hear when I used to go to different flag ceremonies when I was a little boy. I used to hear about all the statistics, what the Congress did, when they voted for it, how they voted for it, the resolution. But I want to tell you about some of the pain that those that, like the flag bearers, that pick up that flag on the battlefield experience. I remember as a young officer leading a patrol behind enemy lines. We were dropped in, as Tim pointed out, 5 men, and it was an enemy base camp. And I saw flying in that enemy base camp an NVA flag, a North Vietnamese Army flag, and they were our enemy at the time. And our mission was to take that flag. And we fought, and yes, the numbers were superior to us. There were 10 times, and possibly 20 times, the numbers that we had, 5 people. We secured their tactical operations center. We took the flag down. We took a little tiny American flag, like you're holding out there, and we attached it. We attached it with string and wire, and we ran it up the flagpole. And I cannot tell you the significance in terms of the morale of the men, the fighting spirit of the men. It all meant so much. And as you reflect back, let alone in the 1800s when they started doing flag days and people were talking about flag days, but there were so many battles, so many wars, that people saw different flags. The American flag was always standing for freedom, always standing for something that everybody wanted, a taste of just freedom. I can't say it better than that. I know when the men in World War II at Iwo Jima, and some of you people may know what happened in the Pacific in Iwo Jima, they did a flag raising. And when the men saw that flag raising, I can tell you again, from listening to parents who shared with us, because I was not at Iwo Jima. I would have been proud if I was and up here today talking. But they raised that flag. The blood pumped through all those Marines as they were on the beaches. And if you were wounded in battle, you wanted to hang on, you wanted to fight, you wanted to stay there, you didn't want to be evac to a hospital ship, you wanted to stay with your brothers and take those mountains, you wanted to win. But throughout history, people respected the flag. Recently, I was in Russia, and the Soviet Empire imploded. What that meant is the Soviet Empire collapsed. And I happened to be in Moscow when the Soviet Empire collapsed. And I brought with me a flag, if I can get it out, that a school teacher made. And this school teacher made this flag, and the colors are red, white, and blue. For the first Russian flag that flew over Red Square, because all the other flags were the hammer and the sickle. And I asked her if there's any way I could barter with her for that flag. And now the politicians in Russia and Moscow want to barter with me for the flag. And I would say, right now, no. Because what was really the turning point for that school teacher to give me the flag wasn't money, wasn't a dollar, wasn't a dime, but it was this flag here that you're holding out there. This little American flag. I offered her this flag in trade. And she took this flag, and I ended up sending her a large flag, a large American flag, and she sent it back to me with a picture from President Gorbachev at the time, the last president of the Soviet Empire. What I'm telling you is that our flag means more than an issue of kneeling at a football game or standing. And what upsets a lot of veterans, a lot of military guys, is that our coffins, when we come back from war, if we're dead, in a pine box we call it, they're draped with flags. The flags mean an awful lot to us. The symbolism means an awful lot to us. The nationalism means an awful lot to us. We love this country. We're willing to give our lives for this country. And the message that I want to send to the little people, the young people here, because I once sat on the curb myself, next to my brother, and we were watching these people march by, and I said, are they scouts? Who are these folks? And he said, no, they're veterans. And he's my older brother. He spent 4 years in Vietnam, and he's buried in Washington Crossing. And I said, veterans. Hopefully someday I can be a veteran. I never knew the sacrifice to be a veteran. But I can tell you, around the world, people respect our veterans, they respect our military, and they respect our flag. I can also tell you that I know the First Amendment says that you can do whatever you want with the flag in terms of your First Amendment rights and your freedom of expression, your freedom of speech. But I'll also say, don't do it in front of me, because I have some rights too. I love this country. I want you to love that flag. Yes, Betsy Ross started with it. Our Continental Congress passed the resolution. But if you notice, our police and our firemen, our emergency people, they all have a flag on them for the most part. They're all wearing the flag. And that's not because they don't love this country. They love your neighbors. They love your mother, your father. They love the laws and the rules. It's so important. So I don't think I have to direct my speeches anymore towards veterans in the military, because I think they know. But my speeches have to be shared with the young children in America. I was once a Cub Scout. I was once a Boy Scout. And it's extremely important. that I got to wear that flag on my shoulder. And so excited to see the Girl Scouts come up here. I have 3 daughters and 1 son. And to see the Girl Scouts with the flag on their chest, wearing it proudly, the Cub Scouts that are here, the other people holding a flag. The crowd could be 2 people, and I would have showed up today. That's how important the American flag is to me. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless Northampton for being one of the most patriotic towns in the USA.